All right, Algebra 2. We have a tricky one today. We're only going to do one problem together. I don't know how long this video will last, but we're going to do example 5 on page 609. There you will see that they gave us this equation, x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 12y minus 12 equals 0. Whew, that is not in standard form of a circle. Remember standard form from yesterday. You can find that, where is it? You can find that on page, on the key concept box on page 607 if you forgot. But what we're going to do today is we're going to take this equation and we're going to put it in standard form because they ask us to find the center, which is hk, and then they want us to find the radius. And remember, in standard form, they give us r squared, which we can square root to find the radius. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is if you see any number that does not have a variable, we're going to move it to the right side of the equation. We're going to move this thing over here, okay? Because this is just a number. It's a constant. Secondly, see we have an x squared and an x. I'm going to just move this up here, and I'm going to move the y there. So we have the x's together, and then the y's. Okay? So we're putting the x's next to each other. We're going to put the y's next to each other, and we're going to move the numbers over here. Now, before I do that, I want to remind you that the technique we are going to use is the technique of completing the square, which hopefully you remember from last week. And that requires us to make that little blank and kind of fill in the blank. So you're going to see me write this equation when I move everything. You're going to see me write it with some blanks, okay? So I have x squared up here, and then I'm moving the minus 8x next to it. And then this is where I'm going to complete the square with the x, okay? I'm going to put a blank in there. And now I have my y squared behind it, and it's positive, so I got plus y squared plus 12y. I'm going to put in a second blank because I'm going to complete the square twice, okay? And when I mean twice, what you should be seeing is I'm trying to create a trinomial with the x values. I'm trying to create a trinomial with the y values. So if it helps you, you can put this in parentheses, okay? And you can see that we have two trinomials here that are adding, all right? Last but not least, remember I've moved that negative 12 over. It's going to be a positive 12 because I added it. Okay, so I'm aware that this is kind of a gross-looking equation. That's okay. Just a quick refresh on completing the square. We'll take the b value, and we're going to take half of it and square it. So what's half of this negative 8? Well, it's negative 4. And what's negative 4 squared? It's 16, right? So we're going to put a plus 16 in there. Let's do the same thing with our 12, right? Because we have to complete the square for 12. So what's half of 12? It's 6. 6 squared is 36, right? 36. Now, while what we have done is legal, okay, remember that this is an equation. So if we add 16 and we add 36 to the left side of the equation, to keep this equation the same, we need to add those to the right side. So I'm going to put a plus 16 over here and a plus 36. Otherwise, the equation does not balance. Right? Otherwise, the equation does not balance. Okay, so remember, completing the square is important because if we factor this, you're going to see that the binomials are perfect, right? The point is complete the perfect square, so it's a perfect binomial. So minus plus is minus minus xx, and obviously the numbers that multiply to 16 and add to 8 are 4, right? See how that works? They're supposed to be the same. And if we do the same thing over here, okay, we're going to get a y plus, what is that, 6? Yeah, 6 times 6 is 36, and 6 plus 6 is 12. Right? So this is factoring after we have completed the square. I'm just going to go ahead and combine these over here for us. It looks like they add to 64. Okay, so if that's wrong, it could cause some problems. But I think they add to 64. Okay. So now, if you look at these two binomials, they are exactly the same, and they're supposed to be. So that means we can rewrite them. Remember, because they're timesing themselves, we can rewrite them as x minus 4 squared. And we can rewrite this as y plus 6 squared, right? There's two of them. They're timesing each other. We can write it as squared. And it's equal to 64. Now, if you guys don't remember, standard form of a circle is this: x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, which is exactly what we have right here, right? Those are the same thing. So once we have it in standard form of a circle, that is, we can just look for h and k, and we can look for r squared, because I think they asked us to find the center. Remember, the center is going to be hk. Right? The center is hk. So what's our h? It's 4. And the k, remember, it's going to be opposite, right? So this was -4, so h is 4. K is a positive 6, so k is -6. Remember, a negative with this minus sign becomes a positive, right? So our center is 4, -6. Now the radius is over here, although this is r squared, right? We don't want r squared, we just want r, we just want the radius. So r squared equals 64. How do we get rid of the square? Yep, square root. And the radius looks like it is 8. Okay, so it appears that our center of this circle was at 4, -6, and the radius is 8. All right, as promised, that's the only one that I wanted to do with you today. I want you guys to try 2 on your own here. Okay, I want you to try 2 on your own. I want you to go over to page 610, and you're going to try numbers 11 and 40. Numbers 11 and 40 on 610, please. Okay, you have questions, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you. Good luck.